So here, guys, all I would have loved to have seen is our defenders starting higher up the field, all right? If we had Lex out here, Finley where Michaela is, Michaela playing higher, and then TK playing higher up here, this pass from Mila is already going to create a 2v1 on this right side of the field, and they can carry the ball up. Instead, we've got our players playing almost inside of our penalty area. There's really no need for it on a kickoff, okay? Also, Mila passes this ball a little bit early. Nobody around, and no need to put Jesse under pressure straight away. And then Jesse's decision here to turn and try and take on this girl is the wrong decision. She has only her sister Kata playing anywhere near her right now, so there's really no need to move forwards against 9 other Boynton girls. We could have slowed this game down, played it backwards, played it into Michaela, played it back into Mila, looking for the left side, working it through to Adeline. All of these were 100% better options than trying to turn, and then what we do is actually lose the ball here. So just a bit of smarter decision making would have been great there. So now we have another opportunity to move higher up the field. Again, we can't even see a single one of our defenders up the field right now. We've got Jesse and Kata pushing up, but honestly, Catalina could be so much higher up the field. Jesse's obviously just been in a 1v1 here, so I've got no issues with where she stood. We've got both of our midfielders basically stood in the same position. I would have loved Michaela to already be up here, okay? No need for both of them to be staying in the same spot. Adeline doesn't need to be there. She can be tucking in because when we're out of possession, we want to be a little bit more tight together, so she doesn't need to be wide anymore. She can kind of occupy the space in here, make it hard for them to play out. And then all of my 3 defenders that you can't even see right now, I want TK in here, I want Finley goal side of this girl here, and then we probably have Lex just coming in here, and then Mila could probably just stay goal side of this girl there. So everybody should be higher up the field. We're giving them way too much space, and this was a huge field, as you all remember. So we need to move up it a little bit more. This probably won't be the same size field that we play every weekend, but when we have a huge field like this, we definitely need to move up. We can't be sitting as deep as we can. So here we're going to have Adeline eventually receive the ball on the left side. If we let it play for a little bit, she carries the ball up. We've got lots of space in front of her, okay? And then at this point here, she takes a big, big touch towards pressure, which is just over there. Right at this point, we've just got to the halfway line. We can change the tempo here, okay? Do a little step on turn, slam the brakes on, allow our team to move up, which we're doing pretty well, okay? Finley, TK, and Lex all moving high up the field to get this girl offside, okay? From this point, if Adeline just slows it down, starts looking for options, either in Lex supporting her, maybe in Mila kind of offering a little short, then maybe we can work the ball through the middle and then get Jesse released on this right-hand side of the field, or even Catalina through the center. Instead, Adeline chooses to kind of try and take on the player with a heavy touch, and we end up losing possession here. Okay, so smart move from Jessie here. She sees she's under pressure, so she recycles it back to TK. What TK does now is probably the wrong decision, because what she ends up doing is just giving it straight back to Jessie, who, to her credit, has gotten wider. She's done exactly what we've been working on in training. She's passed it, she's dropped wider, but she's still not out of the traffic area, okay? There's no point in TK playing that back one touch. TK's not under any pressure. She's got plenty of options around her. Again, you can kind of see Mila and Michaela just a little bit too tight to each other. If one of them was maybe in this space right here, then TK might have a little option to play in there, and then that player can be working that ball through to the left out there with Lex, or out there to Adeline. Instead, TK chooses to play it straight back to Jesse, and now Jesse's immediately under pressure once more, and it ends up going out of play. So here we have a great example of some good build-up. Okay, TK finding a passing option in Catalina. Catalina smart to play it back to TK, and then great little run through the middle from Mila. And then a bit of better control there, and that would have been a really, really good play out of our side. So you can see straight away great impact from learning how to throw the ball and then get it back to our thrower. And then I think TK makes a great decision in finding Mila. Mila times her run well, and it probably just got stuck underneath her body a little bit. If she managed to get that under control, we could have possibly had a numerical advantage here with Jesse, Mila, Catalina, and Adeline all attacking 3 players here. But great decision from all players involved there. So in this passage of play, guys, Michaela and Catalina link up nice. Little 1-2 here, bounces it back into Catalina for her. And then at this point here, what I would love to have seen is Jessie make that diagonal run in behind so we can kind of split these two Boynton girls with Catalina's pass. Instead, she kind of stays wide and Catalina doesn't end up passing to her. It actually bounces off a Boynton girl into her feet. But maybe if Jessie had demanded the through ball at this point here, she'd be one-on-one with the goalkeeper. So it falls for her, but we don't manage to get the shot off. But a bit more running from Jessie and maybe a better decision from Catalina, and we could have been through. Mila picks up the ball here in a great position. The player I want to highlight here is Adeline. Okay, so we were in possession of that ball, so there's really no need for her to be as wide and as deep as she is now. Because we're trying to attack that goal, she should be sprinting in by the time that ball had been thrown in. Adeline right now should at least be 10 yards closer to Adeline and 10 yards closer to Mila and much higher up the field. So I'm thinking somewhere in here because look, this girl's playing everybody on side. Adeline's standing there. It's the easiest pass in the world for Mila to play, and she'll be the one shooting it. Instead, go it alone because she's got no players to pass to. She gets a shot off, maybe left foot or maybe a little bit earlier, but she does the best she can in that situation. There, Adeline, we need to transition a lot quicker. We've seen that we've got the ball. We've seen that we're attacking the goal. Let's get in there before Mila needs you. You should be there ahead of time. So here we have again Mila picking up the ball in a good situation, good space on the field. I'm really liking my back line here, kind of pressing high up the field, much better from them. All right. Great pass here from Mila to find Jessie all the way out here. Whoa. Jessie all the way out here on this right side of the field. If Jessie gets a better first touch here or she can play it back into Catalina, then this is a definite shot on goal. But these are the passes that we know that Mila and Michaela will like to play all the time. So as we get more and more used to playing 9v9 guys on a bigger field, the wide forwards especially should always be prepared for these balls into the weak side of the field. So big switch out there to the weak side, nobody on Jessie, plenty of time, and then that touch takes her well away from goal. Still kind of bouncing around in there, but I'm feeling somebody could have just hit that 1 or 2 touch instead of trying to dribble it in. So here we have Michaela the ball. All right, building out the play nicely here. TK probably could have carried that ball up a little bit and made this number 12 commit to her, and then Jessie would have been an option. But I've got no issue with her playing towards the middle here. We're pretty good at keeping possession in those areas now. What I don't like here is when Michaela wins the ball, her first thought is to play Mila, who is not really an option. She actually turns away from the play. So Mila in there, way too close to Michaela to receive. I don't mind Mila's position in here. It's just Michaela shouldn't have chosen her. What should have happened is at this point here, as Michaela received, I would have liked Catalina to kind of show in between these two players. Adeline could have become an option in between these two players just here, all right? And then even potentially Jessie moving higher up this field now to be an option. Instead, we kind of get nobody showing for the ball and kind of leaving Michaela with one option, which is pass it to Mila as she's moving away from her. Okay, we have here, I want to just highlight quickly, Michaela and Mila again, too close together. We don't need both of them here, okay? TK's marking nobody right now. TK can very easily just take over and say, that's my girl. Michaela, you can move off, okay? And then Michaela can set up out here. We've got a bit better shape there, and we haven't got so many bodies marking just so few people. We've got 4 girls around 3 right there. There's no need for it. What I also want to highlight here is Lex out on this left side, okay? So she's in a good position to start with, but as we watch the play go on, you kind of see that she gets guilty of watching the ball a little bit too much and then losing sight of her player, and it nearly results in the first goal of the game. We need to make sure that we are aware of the players off the ball, don't get caught ball watching because you know how deadly Boynton can be. And we're going to be playing against better teams in Sunrise and everything like that. These girls will be running off the ball all the time. And if you're caught staring at the ball instead of worrying about the player off the ball, then you'll see the ball in the back of the net no end. So on the throw, it kind of bounces around as it normally does at this age group, not really anybody taking control. And then you can see Lex stood flat-footed, staring directly at the ball, and already you can see the body language of this girl here. She's about to start making a run. Immediately, Lex should be dropping to be in line with Finley and keep goal side of this girl instead of getting caught having to chase back. And then you kind of see Finley has to cover two players at once just to stop this shot. So there he goes through. Lex manages to get there just in time, but then the girl's ahead of her again. Unfortunately, she just misses the target. If Lex had never let that girl get ahead of her, then Lex never has to make that tackle in the first place, and then we never have that shot on goal. So here we have a free kick that Finley is going to play long. By freezing the game right here, you can already see the best option on the field is Lex, okay? Why are we playing long? The highest player on the field is Jesse. Passing it into the middle here is never going to hit Catalina. She's not even showing for the ball. So there's no reason for us to play long there. Simple pass into Lex. Lex can carry up the field. Adeline becomes an option. Mila becomes an option. Catalina becomes an option. Nobody around Lex whatsoever. Everybody would have to shift over there to tackle her. If this girl here goes across to tackle Lex, then Adeline's free. It's as simple as that. We need to play simple free kicks. The only time I want to see a long free kick is maybe if we are in the final third and we want to put something on frame, on goal. In our third, in our half, let's play simple. Let's keep the ball. Let's keep possession. Long ball was never going to hit anybody on our team. So as I freeze the game right here, guys, you can see, again, another example of us not really pressing high up the field. So Boynton now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 girls as passing options against Catalina doing all the work on her own, all right? Adeline here not even looking at the ball, all right, over on the left-hand side. Let that girl go. We can let Lex deal with her on the left-hand side of the field. I want to see Adeline kind of holding in this space here, making it difficult for maybe number 15 to receive. Absolutely, Catalina goes straight to the ball, no problem with that. Jesse should be higher up the field right now, and then 100%, I think it's Mila should be really tight to number 9 here, and then they're going to have a much harder chance of getting out of their own half. But we're giving them so much space. This is like a huge rondo against Catalina right now. She's never going to have a chance of winning it. Now we're finally pressing, but this girl's got time. That brings me on to my next point, our first big bite of the game, all right? So Jessie here going for the ball, doesn't slow down before she gets there, so this girl was allowed a lot of time to receive and turn because we weren't tight to start with. Jessie eventually gets there, but because she's had to sprint to get there because she was out of position, she ends up flying at the ball, and then what happens? Easily beaten, okay? Slow down, make it hard for them to get past you. If she's facing her own goal or trying to turn, keep her facing that way. Don't go flying in and then get caught because now Jessie's having to sprint back and other people are having to do her job for her. All right, here, guys. So when Adeline's receiving this ball out here on the left side, what I would have liked is to have seen Lex, who's just out of the picture here on the left, supporting her a lot quicker. Okay, so you can kind of see in this game already we're seeing a lot of opportunities for our defenders to move higher up the field, whether we're out of possession and trying to press the Boynton girls to win the ball back, or in this scenario where we're in possession and we just need more passing options. Because you can see Adeline's got no options here. She's running into a dead end with 3 Boynton girls all around her. No other really short options. The closest player to her is probably Michaela or Catalina going towards her there. So really, it would have helped a lot if Lex had just kind of been up there immediately offering that recycle option, and we can work it eventually to the opposite side of the field. So she managed just to get a ball in, but obviously in there yet. So from this point, guys, what we want to be seeing here is Adeline pressing higher. So because we're not doing 7v7 anymore, we're not going to be having the striker doing all the pressing and going towards that ball. The striker's probably going to stay a little bit more central. So now we can have our left winger in Adeline much tighter to start with. She doesn't need to be that far away. That means that Lex would be much higher and replace Adeline, and then that's where we would start. So again, we just want to be starting higher up the field. And obviously recognize when the ball's played to that side of the field, we should have our defender much higher over there. And then obviously TK on the right side would be tucking in towards Finley's side. So don't worry about what we did last season where we would have just the striker in Catalina in this situation. going towards the ball and everybody else holding off. Yes, she would go towards it a little bit, but she's more worried about cutting the pass off back in here. Okay, so just something to remember for next game. We can press a lot higher in the goal kicks. Okay, guys. So as Mila wins this ball here, you can see Catalina here has turned away and is starting to run away from the ball. I did want to see more players making runs for through balls in this game. So I've not got an issue with as kind of trying to make a run there. The problem is, though, this can obviously never be a through ball because Mila and Catalina are basically in the same line as each other. So this could never be a through ball. Instead, what we would like to see here is Catalina turn and show feet for a pass, all right? So Mila fires that ball into there, and then we can maybe combine. You can see Catalina could very easily bounce that ball back into Michaela, or Mila can carry on for the overlap, or maybe even Jessie is able to make a run inside. So not a terrible decision to try and make a run for a through ball, but you've got to obviously recognize sometimes if you're in the same channel as the person with the ball, which is what's happening there, then that can't be a through ball. We should be showing feet. Jessie can be making a run for a through ball. Michaela can be making a run for a through ball because they're in different channels, but Catalina should be showing feet here. So here, guys, I just want you to be paying attention to Elle here, who recognizes immediately when TK gets that ball to start making that. Okay. Again, just like the point I made earlier, just with Mila trying to pass into Catalina, maybe the through ball is difficult here because they're in the same channel, but fortunately, it kind of comes across Elle in a perfect way that she can take it in her stride. So we get away with this one, and it ends up being a pretty good through ball because they've got a lot of space to run into. What we want to see now as Elle gets that ball is a lot more support for her in the form of maybe Mila. TK does a good job. TK is the best option here. I don't think Crystal needs to come all the way across, okay? I don't think Crystal's doing anything by hiding behind these two girls here, all right? Realistically, I really only think that we need TK offering that pass. Mila's good to come in here a little bit and help out, but then definitely we want to see now Adeline already tucking in towards the middle because there's no way that she's ever going to receive that ball in any way, shape, or form. She should already be thinking about getting in to areas in the penalty area for a cross, okay? Michaela's in a great position, really happy where she's at right now, covering the two guys in the middle, so allowing us to push up the field. So all in all, everybody in good positions, just maybe Crystal pulling away, Mila coming tighter, and then TK's already where she needs to be. When we finally do get the ball into TK, you can kind of see maybe rushed in a little bit. Maybe if Elle punches this passing a little bit more, it's on the floor, then we'll get something from it. But either way, there was nobody in the penalty area to even do anything with it. And then we get another bye. Another example of us trying to get back into a better defensive shape and stop swinging our legs at the ball. All right, so here we have a smart, again, throw from TK. Really good bounce back into her and a very smart decision to play Lex there. Lex, understanding she's under pressure, plays it back to Lila, and Lila smartly out. Really, really, really good build-up, guys. I have to do that again because that was so good. Really shows a confident team to be able to do that. Okay, so just watch it from the start again. It's great build-up. Michaela drop in, back into TK. TK smart to not try playing forward because as you not really any options. Finley would be a terrible option here because she's going to be immediately under pressure by this girl. So here, yes, okay, it's square, it's across our goal mouth, but if TK's got her eyes up, which I think she has here, she sees that there's no way that this is going to get intercepted on its way to Lex. If anything, it's probably a little bit behind Lex, but obviously Lex makes a good decision, realizing that she's under pressure immediately and goes straight back into Lila. Really, really confident build-up, guys, okay? And it here, Lila making absolutely the best decision she can because by playing it long into Adeline here, we take out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players out of the game, okay? That's 5 out of 9 players on Boynton that are nowhere near the ball anymore. They've completely been beaten. So we've only got 4 to beat, and one of them is the goalkeeper. But On the flip side of that, as that ball goes into Lila, the highest person on the field right now is Crystal. Okay, so everybody is in our half of the field. If we just have Crystal just out of frame, maybe up here, okay. Elle now recognizing that the ball's not coming onto her side, so she starts making this run up here instead of having to sprint in about 10 seconds. We're in a much better position. Maybe even Mila's already recognizing and reading body language that we can move into there. And now we've got maybe more players up the field ready to go and attack the goal. And then there, kind of a pointless kind of dribble into a corridor where we were going nowhere. Adeline could have very easily just slowed that down and we could have had a good attack on goal.